What separates those who succeed from those who fail? It's not talent. It's not luck. And it's definitely not motivation. The difference is discipline. Motivation is fleeting. It's an emotional high that fades as quickly as it comes. Discipline, however, is your foundation. It's the engine that keeps you moving forward, even when the road gets tough. Think of discipline like gravity. It's a constant force that pulls you back to the ground when life tries to send you spiraling out of control. Without discipline, our lives would fall apart. Without it, success is impossible. Today, I want to talk to you about why discipline matters more than motivation, how you can build it, and why embracing consistency is the key to unlocking your full potential. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wanted to run a marathon. He wasn't an athlete, and he wasn't particularly fit. But one day, he decided to do it. He downloaded a training plan and committed to running every single day. For the first week, he was motivated. He laced up his sneakers with a big smile on his face and hit the pavement every morning. The second week, things got harder. His legs were sore, and the enthusiasm that had pushed him out the door began to fade. By the third week, he was dragging himself out of bed, questioning why he had ever signed up in the first place. But something remarkable happened. He didn't quit. He kept running, even when he didn't feel like it. His runs weren't always fast, and they weren't always pretty, but he showed up every day. And over time, the process became automatic. Running wasn't something he had to force himself to do. It became part of who he was. Months later, he crossed the finish line of his first marathon. And when people asked him how he did it, his answer was simple. I didn't rely on motivation. I relied on discipline. Here's the truth no one likes to admit. Motivation is unreliable. It's like a spark of inspiration that flares up when conditions are perfect, but quickly fizzles out when life gets hard. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't depend on how you feel. It's a habit, a routine, a decision to act regardless of your emotions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Motivation is an outside event. It's triggered by things you can't control, a good mood, a sunny day, a song that gets you pumped up. But discipline comes from within. It's something you build brick by brick, until it becomes unshakable. Let's look at an example from history. Thomas Edison is remembered as one of the greatest inventors of all time, but what most people forget is how many times he failed. When he was working on the light bulb, he tried over 10,000 different designs that didn't work. Can you imagine what that must have felt like? 10,000 failures. 10,000 dead ends. If Edison had relied on motivation, he would have given up long before he succeeded. But he didn't. He showed up every day, consistently putting in the work, because he believed in the power of discipline. When asked about his failures, Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the power of discipline. It keeps you going when motivation has long disappeared. Here's the thing about discipline. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym when you'd rather stay in bed. It's sitting down to study when your friends are out having fun. It's writing one paragraph a day when you don't feel inspired. But over time, these small, consistent actions compound into something extraordinary. This is known as the compound effect, the idea that small, daily habits add up to massive results over time. Think of it like planting a tree. At first, your efforts seem pointless. The seed is buried underground, and you can't see any progress. But with consistent watering and sunlight, that seed begins to grow. And one day, you wake up to find a towering tree where there was once only dirt. That's the power of consistency. It may not feel like much in the moment, but over time, it transforms your life. Now that we've talked about why discipline matters, let's get practical. How can you build discipline in your own life? Start small. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. Start with one small habit, like making your bed every morning or writing for 5 minutes a day. Small wins build momentum. Set clear goals. Discipline thrives on clarity. Write down exactly what you want to achieve and break it into manageable steps. Create a routine. Discipline is easier when it becomes part of your routine. Wake up at the same time every day. Schedule your workouts. Plan your meals. The less you have to think about it, the better. Detach from feelings. This is where Stoic philosophy comes in. Don't let your emotions dictate your actions. As Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Stick to your principles, even when it's hard. Reward yourself. Discipline doesn't have to be miserable. Celebrate your progress along the way. Treat yourself to something you enjoy after a week of consistent effort. Let me share something personal. A few years ago, I decided to write a book. I was excited at first. I had all these ideas, and I couldn't wait to get started. But after a few weeks, the excitement wore off. I started making excuses. I'm too busy. I'll write tomorrow. Days turned into weeks, and my book sat untouched. That's when I realized I was relying on motivation to get the job done, and motivation wasn't showing up. So, I made a decision. I committed to writing for 30 minutes every morning, no matter what. Some days, the words flowed easily. Other days, I stared at a blank page, feeling like a failure. But I showed up anyway. Months later, the book was finished. It wasn't because I was particularly talented or inspired. It was because I was disciplined. At the end of the day, discipline is about showing up. It's about doing the work, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when you don't feel like it. Motivation will betray you. Discipline will carry you to the finish line. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to Students of Wisdom and join a community of people who are committed to living with purpose. Let's build discipline together, one step at a time.